Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law. Through this channel I'll be providing some stock analysis and a quick update on the $1 Million Challenge. So if anybody's not aware of this, this is a journey investment of $1,000 to a return of $1 million over a period of 3 years using a strategy called compound return investing. So the objective is try to get 201 trades, each with an average return of 3.5%. It's not 201 consecutive trades, we do take into account losses. So for further details about how to join us for less than $9 a month, information is available in the description below. In today's video, we're going to be looking at MMTLP and a significant new update on the $290 per share minimum ask for position close only, and then we're going to look at ticker symbol AMD. And there has been news with regard to a significant AI event this week, and I think the stock is ready for potentially a strong rebound up. And then I'm also going to be sharing with you details of a man who traded Tesla and lost $415 million, so stay tuned for that. So before we get started, let's have a look at what's happening in the markets. And from Market Watch, we can see here that the stock market is facing a soft landing rally, and obviously we have the CPI inflation test this week, and also we have significant tensions in the Middle East. From Bloomberg, we can see the S&P's $8 trillion rally will be tested by a tricky earnings season. So we are going into huge earnings seasons now. In terms of analysts, they've cut the third quarter profit growth for S&P firms to 4.7%. So let's have a look at the key dates this week. So we have the Fed FOMC minutes on Wednesday. The big one is going to be the CPI inflation on Thursday. Hopefully positive news drives the markets up quite significantly. Jobless claims on Thursday and PPI inflation also on Friday. And finally, if we finish off with earnings, again, some significant earnings. We are watching a number of these in the Discord exclusively, but I think some of the notable ones, certainly PepsiCo, we have AEHR, BlackRock, and another few on there that I think are interesting. I'd like to start by having a look at ticker symbol AMD, also known as Advanced Micro Devices. So in terms of an introduction, this is a company that stands out as a key player in the semiconductor industry. It has CPU and GPU technologies which are groundbreaking, and their production line is expertly engineered to meet these evolving demands. In terms of the products and what they are offering, they're looking at Instix MI series GPUs. These target data centers. Then they have the Ryzen CPUs. These are looking at continuing to challenge Intel's dominance, and also have the integrated CPU and GPU chip, which again is got a great future ahead. If we look at the strategic partnerships, so again, two huge partnerships here. First one is with Google, and this is with regard to cloud computing, and also the other one is huge also in terms of gaming, and the partnerships here are with Microsoft and Sony. And then if we have a look at a potential future, the AI data inference infrastructure, in terms of that, AMD is strategically positioned for a potential $1 trillion valuation in the future long term, and this could be by doubling down on the AI data infrastructure, especially with regard to the M1300X chip. So they're currently at the core of this rapidly expanding AI market, and this particular chip, the M1300X, is designed to meet the high computational demands of AI applications. So a date for your diary, and that is earnings. So keep an eye out on 29th of October 2024 for earnings, and I'm looking for a significant beat. So if we have a look at the long-term chart now, again, it's looking like a very bullish setup here. There is a date I'm going to share with you shortly, but if we look at this, we're potentially looking at a move up to $160 and then $174, and I think it could then go higher. So it's already hit close to 170 right now, but if we look at Thursday, October the 10th, again, key date for your diary, AMD is going to be holding an Advancing AI 2024 event, and this is going to be showcasing the next generation AMD Instinct accelerators, and they're also going to be looking at discussing networking and also AI PCO updates, as well as looking at highlighting the AI solution. So I am hoping the news from Thursday also drives the share price forward. Before we look at MMTLP, I'd like to share with you a new section in our Discord called Top Ranked Stocks. So in this section, I'm going to be sharing sharing with you DD reports for top ranked and number one rated strong buy stocks. So these reports will be continuously updated. And the other section that is new in the Discord is a live trading and data alert section, where we have live breaking news with regard to stocks, biotech stocks, FDA news, insider trading, and also sentiment, which can obviously be very important in terms of your trading decision. So let's move on to MMTLP. So what Scott has posted is has an unsigned WOM writ of mandamus, and he's sending this out to OGC at the SEC for review. So first of all, he cannot file this without exhausting all the administrative remedies, and he's also looking at things between himself and the SEC, which are currently cordial, but probably not cordially enough. And number three, he's also stated he will not see any decisions, or not expect to make any decisions or have any decisions from the court until maybe November. And I think something that's interested in number four, quite interesting here, he states here, once the SEC replies, out of courtesy, he may go dark, or he will go dark, and any negotiations or concerns will be addressed offline. So that's also going to be interesting. So we'll see if Scott does go offline, and if that could be a suggestion that significant obviously negotiations are taking place. I'll jump in and have a look at Scott's latest petition for the writ of mandamus, and this is for the SEC and Gary Gensler. So if we look at what he stated in the introduction here, he states here that Scott is petitioning this court for a writ of mandamus compelling Gary Gensler and the SEC, or him on behalf of the SEC, to immediately take corrective action by reopening buy to close trading for MMTLP and enforcing the SEC and FINRA rules, and addressing systematic market manipulation that has caused harm to retail investors, that's all of us, and the indefinite U3 halt imposed on MMTLP by FINRA on December the 9th, 2022. So this U3 halt, remember, it is probably a U3 halt like never before ever used. Apparently it was for uncertainty, to prevent uncertainty, and this remains in effect. It's unprecedented, it's causing immense financial harm, and Scott is quoting here 80,000 other shareholders, which I think if he takes into account obviously the markets and the brokers were overselling shares, it could even be higher. So we don't know the exact number. So we now, if we go on to the next section here, we can see in terms of a summary, FINRA's misconduct includes altering the corporate action notices for the U3 halt, looking at allowing counterfeit shares, enforcing and failing to enforce the SEC Rule 204, which was preventing the fail to delivers. So Patricia Casimates, she's been named as a central role in this fraud by refusing to disclose who authorized the illegal trading of MMTLP, even though we probably, or most of us, know. And he states Scott and others in terms of the MMTLP community have no recourse and are currently out of options. And I know many people are also waiting for an update from Nextbridge Hydrocarbons as well as one of the options, but we still have not heard from them. So it goes on to say the manipulation violated FINRA Rule 6490, and this required accuracy and transparency in the corporate action notice. This did not take place, and we are fairly sure that this rule was broken, and this is their own rule. So FINRA Rule 2020 is another one, and that prohibits manipulative or deceptive practices. They failed to comply with the obligations under Rule 204, and that mandates timely closeout or fail to delivers. And then Scott is quoting here 900 million naked shorts introduced in the market, and then he's saying 700 million were from oversold by broker dealers from that point of view again. So huge numbers there. And then if we look at section 6, and this is focusing on FINRA's conflicts of interest. So he's quoting the UPC committee and the whole tainted by conflicts of interest, which we all know about, the members who had direct ties to major broker dealers. And the example he's quoting here is Kelly Bell, managing director of Hilltop Securities, who also had close ties to Schwab, and we know how much Schwab were involved in MMTLP. So let's focus on the interesting part here, which is the relief sought. And he states here to issue the writ of mandamus compelling Gensler to immediately reopen the trading for MMTLP 2 days buy to close trading only. Obviously these precautions are necessary, because if it's not, then obviously the market will not work the way we want it to work. So number 2, mandate that the clearing and settlement for all trades takes place. And I think the interesting one here from an AI point of view is to appoint a special master with expertise in securities fraud, bank fraud, procedures, etc., to oversee the trading and settlement process to ensure fairness, transparency and accountability. So that's quite new. And then number 4, to provide the shareholders, all the shareholders of MMTLP, but not the requirement to migrate their shares back from AST into the broker dealer. So if your shares are currently in AST and you're worried about missing out on this trading, then he's added in number 4 for you to be allowed to have that. And as far as I'm concerned, if many of Greg's McCabe shares are in AST, then that will have to, the transfer back to broker dealers will have to happen before this can take place. And I think the interesting part here in terms of the update for the share price, number 5, in red, to set a baseline starting price consistent with the law, $290 per share. So the way that he's calculated this is a closing price $2.90 times by 100, giving an absolute minimum $290 per share. And we know how high it went, and we all also know how high it could have gone. So obviously contingent on adverse inference order is affixed to Schwab because of the evidence. So this evidence that Scott has is special, is unique. Nobody else has used this evidence. Rosa didn't use it, Richard didn't use it because it was not relevant in their cases, and Mark hasn't used it. So the evidence he has is allegations of destruction, spoliation, madness, which took place apparently on the 14th of September 2024, 20th of March 2024, as confirmed on 16th of September 2024. So apparently Schwab have lost details of these, which they are legally required to keep. So it's going to be interesting how they get out of that one. So let's move on to number 6. To ensure that the audited certified share count must be made public 1 week prior to trading. So again, that will be interesting, but it may not necessarily be a requirement so long as trading with position close to only takes place. Number 7, to set 14 days prior to the trading that brokers are reporting on aggregate long and short positions. So this is basically just asking for clarity and clearness and transparency, which is going to be very, very difficult for them. So number 8, to allow for Scott to conduct a beta test for any purpose-built MMTLP reintroduction of trading. So this is the new AI angle he's bringing in, and it's an artificial intelligence system going by the name of Deepwater. So again, I'm sure Scott will give us more updates on that further down. And I think this has certainly been inspired from what's been happening in Korea. So number 9, to ensure brokers are forced to close out their short positions at the expense of clients who do not close out their own positions, and this should be with no price cap. And this is exactly what should have happened on the final 2 days of trading. If the shorts of the hedge funds did not close their positions, the obligation was on the brokers. So that's why there's a huge problem with the conflict of interest on the UPC committee, because the broker dealers saved billions and billions. Number 10, to mandate that any final open long positions are reported to all brokers, FINRA, and also NextBridge Hydrocarbons. And then if we have a look at the end, we can see here this has not been dated yet, but it has obviously gone over to the relevant parties. So he's added a footnote here about the Deepwater AI system, saying it's cleaner, it's reduces corruption in the market, it's looking at obviously areas like Korea have been implementing that to clean up their market. So again, a very, very interesting and important update here from Scott. Finally, I'd like to share with you some details with regards to a person who traded Tesla and lost $415 million. So what Charles has stated here is, imagine opening a brokerage account with $88,000 because you don't know any better. Then it rockets to $414 million. The brokerage firm sees this and offers you help. Then your account goes to zero. So he was covering that on his program, making money. So what bar chart have also stated here is an investor turned $888,000 into $415 million trading Tesla options, then saw the portfolio crash to zero. So now there is a lawsuit. So let's have let me share you details of this lawsuit. So there is a lawsuit currently going on in the Supreme Court of British Columbia, and the person here is Christopher Default. He lost his entire $415 million portfolio. He's claiming that RBC provided him with inadequate advice. And I'm sure all of you probably now saying, well, why did he not take profits? Do not always take profits. So if we look at the date 2019, his 88,000 portfolio had grown to $26 million. That was by mid 2020. And then further down, it reached $415 million by 2021. Then in 2022, Tesla suffered a series of declines. He was forced to sell his Tesla shares, repay his loans from his margin account, and obviously the balance went to zero. So obviously the lesson here is always look at taking profits, protecting profits, and also recognizing that in the market, whenever you trade, you will obviously risk every single penny that you invest. And we also know, as far as people who short, they take infinite risk. That should be obviously implemented and that should be enforced. So finally, thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.